Hey guys, Taylor with GammaEdge here coming at you with a post-market recap for September 2nd, 2025. So today really a tale of two markets. Obviously we have the gap down and pretty aggressive sell-off lower. However, then, quite the V-shaped rally and honestly finished at high of the days. 6,400 key level, a ton of interaction within this level throughout the session. And so with that, we'll get into our key levels that we do every single morning to our transition zones. Didn't necessarily have a level here for a bottom to form. However, we knew we were looking at our intraday tools, understanding when a bottom could form and kind of fruition of this move higher. We were actually talking during the session on YouTube Live during this move lower and kind of our thoughts there. I can review those as well, but with that, let's get into the pre-market prep. So as we always do, right, Discord, SPX game plan, we go through the SPX-A, SPX-P complexes, both the full complex and then SPX 0DT as well. Reason for this, because then we can understand kind of a holistic view of the market in terms of more of a zooming out, multi-day to multi-week swing trading time frame. Then we zoom into the SPX 0DT time frame for folks that are interested in that. Two things. One, pre-market prep that's done on YouTube Live most mornings. That was done today. So feel free to go give that a read, a watch rather. And then obviously if you're in the community, you should be reading SPX game plan every morning. First, SPX-P full complex, just want to cover this real quick. Swing trading time frame, right? 64.50, that's going to be a key level to keep in mind. We open below that level, close below that level. So we want to see price get above 64.50 with the market trend model being constructive as well to have further confidence that this is a good kind of regime fundamental backdrop for, swing trades longer. Thing we're watching for here is where the transition is tomorrow, where we open in relation to that transition, and then if above and below spot price, if that gets more call or put dominated. Getting to SPX 0DT itself, so we can see first off transition zones. Drunken tether edge was pretty wide today at 64.90 down to 64.25. Then we have our DEX transition zone 64.60 up to 64.75. So what does that mean, right? Below 64.60, looking more to downside pressure, but keep in mind still within the context of the drunken sailor range, which is a zone of meandering. Although below that, favor more downside pressure, and then we opened below the bottom of the drunken sailor range, so it was really input dominated territory. Given the structure though, the size of the transition zone and really the gap down that we are having, something important to note, obviously 6,400 was a key level, but below that, just look, we're kind of in thin air, meaning call speculation is basically non-existent below that level. So really not going to get a fuel lower by, those people closing out of their calls, and by those people I mean the speculators. So what we need to see in this instance is to get further movement down. We need to see that incremental put buyer come in or incremental seller come in. So that's going to be through our intraday volume commands. We need to see a continuation lower in the trend of those centroids market trend model. We need to see the cumulative tick having a linear down day or sustained selling throughout the session, and then the filtered tick. You want to see the filtered tick registering significant selling throughout the session as well. Because if we don't give that, on the opposite, what could happen is that rubber band is stretched. So those folks, especially to the downside of those puts, going to monetize those puts, going to introduce buying pressure into the market. And then while you're in there shorting the whole, the market's going to rip in your face, which is what happened today. That's what we were talking about happening during the YouTube intraday live session, which you can go watch that on our YouTube channel as well. Right, I know, never fun to go back and watch something that's already happened, but pretty good session today. I think 10, 20 minutes long to, discuss just running through kind of thoughts intraday, how we use the tools, not only 0DT, but then we go through individual stocks as well. So yeah, anyways, going back through this, right, 64.25 was key level, kind of right where we are opening in the 6,400. So those were kind of the two focal points in Zoom at when we opened today, and that's what I marked in the charts as well, that we'll get to in a second. Just for reference, right, there's many more important levels in the structure. I'm not going to get through all of those. You guys can go watch the pre-market prep, go read the pre-market prep as well in the Discord, right? A lot of these were not relevant, but that's not the point. The point is to do the work every day, develop your plan, and then you are prepared for what is going to happen, right? So as I was just saying, 6,400, 64.25, these were the key levels that I had. Remember, just key psychological level, a lot of speculation when looking at the distribution of speculation made sense as being a key kind of inflection point. 64.25, that was the bottom of the drunken sailor zone. So obviously, right, a little bit of reflexive bounce at the open when we had such a large gap down, right, in the 6,400, failed to go lower, failed to go any higher, right, and then just kind of a waterfall effect from there. and then ripped right back up to 6,400 and then kind of just finished in the middle of the range. That's great in hindsight, but intraday, what was the story telling us? So first off, looking at the market trend model, get this out of the way. A couple things to note. Really didn't see any aggressive selling per se versus, you look at the aggressive buying we saw, I think it was last probably Wednesday or Thursday. This was huge, right? Huge linear up day. But today was kind of meh, like kind of aggressive here, but there's really no filter tick selling registering there. And then then it certainly flattened out, and then it was actually a pretty constructive day higher, kind of a higher low right there. And that's what we were saying. I think I came on around like 115, so kind of in this area. That's exactly what we were seeing is, yes, we were at the lows, but we just were not pressing lower. There wasn't like an urgency of selling in the market, if that makes sense. Right, and then another great way to see that is do our intraday volume analysis. So this is our volume command. It's SPX 0 DT focused, calls green, puts red. What we do is on a 5-minute basis, we get the distribution of speculation, right? Generally looks like a bell curve. We find the middle point, which is called the centroid, and we plot that centroid. So every 5 minutes, plot, connect the dots, and we get this solid line above and below spot price, which is representative of the behavior of speculation through volume analysis. So the idea is it gives us an insight in kind of the character of speculation, which drives character of price action. So to the call side, are we being more aggressive, meaning we're moving higher? Are we being less aggressive, we're moving lower, or are we just kind of maintaining status quo? So clearly, we're no aggressiveness from the call side, so hence just a downward trend, classic of what we see. However, to the put side, we were seeing the opposite. We were not seeing an aggressive move lower like this. That is where we generally get a downtrend, but it was pretty flat to higher with a downtrending. So this kind of puts a lid on the bottom of the market. We often see these to the updates as well, where this is just moving higher. This is moving like that, and so we kind of get that gradual kind of sideways to higher movement, but it's the opposite today, right? And then something important to note is, right, in this area down here, we were getting a little bit of price action, moving lower, calls moving lower. So you could have thought at that point in time, wow, we could be going lower here. Just keep in mind the market trend model was not selling off at all during this point in time. Or I guess really you could say this is when it subsided. But something that we were talking about is you don't want to be shorting this far in the hole. Again, keep in mind looking at the structure as well, how we were saying that, let me get to it. That remember the air is quite thin down here, so you're really going to need to see that incremental seller come in. You're going to need to see the aggressiveness of the market trend model, which was not being very aggressive at all in terms of the filter tick itself. And then from here, then we just, put Centroid just ramped higher throughout the session. So hopefully, one of the benefits of this tool is, combining this with the market trend model. If you are, pressing your shorts thinking, okay, we got to dump, hopefully not getting yourself chopped up, because definitely did not dump. And there's no reason for us to infer that we were going to dump. Just given what the price action was, right? And then once we got up to 6,400 today, then, just fairly choppy price action from there. Yeah, we got a little bit of ramp into the close, but keep in mind into the close. So a lot of agents are operating, and the market is kind of going to do what it's going to do in the last 30 minutes. Right, and then from a swing trading point of view, we had a couple watch lists that we populate in the Discord. We had a bull list, a bear list. It's just simple. Bull list is call dominated stocks above the 21 EMA, just a simple kind of TA with our options volume analysis. Gives a good subset of stocks. Those at the point in time were looking pretty ugly throughout the session. The bears were looking pretty ugly throughout the session. Yes, we had a big turnaround, but nothing that we saw was actionable getting in for the day. The constructive note was, the market trend model trying to move higher. So we're going to have to see if this, see a continuation, see, filter tick buying coming back in, see if we can reclaim the top of our transition zones, and ultimately just seeing what the quality of the setups look like, right? We want to see stocks above P-trans, room to run higher to plus X. And then the overall market backdrop needs to be supportive as well, right? Because we want to be trading with a tailwind, not into a headwind. So needless to say for myself is mostly just closing trades I was taking heat on today. I was not opening any new trades. So feel fine with where we're at, and we'll see what tomorrow brings. Well, with that's what I got for you guys tonight. Main thing is, SPX 0DT trading, how we found those levels, how we use our tools intraday. Keep in mind, if you're a swing trader, using those tools intraday as well, because every trade, in our opinion, starts as a day trade. We need to see it constructive the day we enter the trade, and then needs to be working right away, and kind of stacking day on day on day. Is what we want. And then, right, using the intraday tools, I think I literally just said that market trend model. Beauty of that is intraday and swing trading all in one tool. And then, right, since we are the sponsor of this video, if you go to GammaEdge.us, hit on the free courses, GammaEdge Fast Pass, free course for you guys, flagship education, exactly what our paid members get. It's our methodology, frameworks, trading strategies, how to use all of our tools, everything laid out for you crystal clear there. So all you gotta do is sign up for it and it is yours for free. So enjoy. And right, this is not just for people trading options, but really it's just to express to you the importance of understanding options role in today's modern markets and how to take advantage of that. Now, whether you do that through futures, trading stock, options, don't really care. Really what it is just a framework and tools for your trading toolkit to hopefully make you more money. So with that, now I'm done. You guys have a great night. We will see you all tomorrow. Thank you. Bye.